S2E10 podcast.
For the girls we were.
For the sisters we became. And the women we're becoming.
Hello, welcome back, or welcome to our
channel, our podcast.
Yes, that's right, Esther. It's a podcast.
And a channel.
It's both. It's multifaceted.
It is. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Hit that notification button so you know that when we're posting something new, you get the drop in first. And if you're listening to us on our audio platforms such as Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts,
all the fun places,
be sure to subscribe. Be sure to leave a comment, a review. We want to hear from you guys. We only get better when you engage with us.
But be respectful. Oh, by the way, I guess we should introduce ourselves. I'm Paola, that's my government name.
And I'm Esther.
You can call me Lola, but you can call her Esther.
Thank you.
That's it. But for those who have been harassing my good sis, Esther, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Harassing?
Where's the next episode?
That is not harassment.
It's harassment.
Lola sees it as harassment because then I turn to her and I'm like, listen up, motherfucker, I need the next episode.
It's a stick up.
It is.
It's a stick up.
I harass Lola. Y'all don't harass.
She's like, so what are we doing? Like, what's going on?
What is actually going to be happening?
And you know what? I have a life. I have a job. I need naps. I have to exercise. I have a dog. Like, I'm trying to find a man. Like, y'all, I only got 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I'm trying to do all of this, and I'm committed to you. I'm committed to this relationship.
I'm committed too, so I'm trying to make this work for me. And so now I have a mic, because I'm like, one of the things I was so excited for when we were doing this podcast, quite frankly, was the aesthetics of it. People like, oh, I listen to podcasts. I'm like, I watch them.
I like watching them too.
I like people who look cute. We're cute. But I decided today that I was just not in the mood to like gussy up and wear a dress or whatever. But I was like, I will have a mic. And I feel like, I don't even know. I just feel like a whole different person. I just feel
because you have a mic?
Yeah, I feel like I'm holding power. Like, I feel like
I love this for
it's in my grips. Like,
my voice is loud enough to carry.
It's all aesthetics, though. I did not turn it on. Respectfully, I'm projecting. But this is all a placebo effect, okay?
Good.
It makes me feel good. But the point is, hop off of Esther's jock and please be nice.
You all are very nice. You all ask very kindly.
They do ask very kindly. And I understand, and thank you for holding us accountable. If you're listening, I hope you heard the sarcasm.
We love you guys, and we're so glad to be back right before Thanksgiving.
Right
before the real holiday season. By the by, I don't count Halloween as a holiday.
Listen, I grew up with a very Pentecostal Christian mom, and every time people rang on the doorbell, she's like, Satanas! And I'm like, we did not celebrate Halloween. And so I, too, don't consider Halloween the beginning of the season,
the holiday season. Yeah, like everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's starting. And I'm like, everyone knows Thanksgiving marks the beginning. Like, don't get me wrong, November 1st, everyone's already like, oh my God, it's Christmas. And then there's Thanksgiving and the rest of Christmas.
Yes.
But like, I'm like, let's be honest, y'all.
Let's respect ourselves and not lie. They just like to look, what is it?
To dress up?
Yeah, because the mean girls are like, Halloween is the only time of the year that a girl could dress like a total slut and no one can say anything about it. I think they just like it's fun. There's no inhibitions. You're drinking. You're eating Kit Kats. You're feeling sexy. You're feeling spooky. I get it, but it's not the holiday season.
It's just not.
It's not, and that's
I'm like,
fine.
until you have cracked that turkey, like, right over the table.
Is that what you do? Is that what you do?
You don't, listen,
we crack your turkey?
I cut it up.
Okay, so that's different from...
I mean, you gotta break the bone.
Well, with your kneecaps?
Listen.
See, this is the problem, is you exaggerate too much.
How do you know? You know, I will send you a video of cracking the bone over my kneecap.
Over your kneecap?
Yes. And then bring me to the ER. But I will send her a video. I will put it up for y'all.
But yes, you were saying that is the beginning of the holiday season.
Yes. And I feel like this is like, I know like Valentine's Day is like the love holiday, but I feel like holiday season, I just feel the love. You know, I just feel the love.
I just feel like warm and like I want to hang out with people and I just want to sing and watch good movies. Oh, I can't wait for the holiday movies.
Dude, let me tell y'all something. I love Hallmark. I'm actually like, I'm so excited.
Netflix is on Hallmark's neck, by the way.
You think?
They are dropping some good ones. Listen, Vanessa Hudgens is eating well. I didn't like all those movies, but she's eating well. She had 3 Princess Switch, a trilogy?
Yeah, the Princess Switch. That was my question. I said, who asked Vanessa Hudgens to play this role not once, not twice, but thrice?
Thrice! 3 times!
Yo, I for one was like...
Somebody because you know what it is? It started, and it's all in the same universe. I don't know if you've ever noticed.
No.
So, first of all, she has there was a Prince for Christmas. I don't know if you're, so it's this girl, she goes to a country and she becomes an au pair. So that's the beginning of the Christmas, I'm telling you, they're coming for Lifetime and Hallmark. Like,
wow.
They have a universe, and in the same universe is the Princess Switch. And then, what was it? So she did 2 movies. There was like a
then
night.
There was a night for Christmas.
A night for Christmas.
Which I'm like, can we just get a little more? At least Hallmark gives us like a little alliteration. Y'all should know by now.
No, they do not.
Christmas cookies in Connecticut.
Who would watch that though?
I would. You want to know why? Because there's something about, like, oh my gosh, one of my favorite holiday movie is, and this was like when ABC Family was making like holiday movies, Handcuffed. Like it was Handcuffed for the holidays with Mario Lopez and Melissa Joan Hart. And let me tell you something. I watch that every year. I watch it several times a year. That and Eloise at Christmas time.
For me, it's so funny to watch movies now, and then looking back, apparently they weren't on and popping. Like, The Grinch Who Stole Christmas was not well received.
I can see
when
that.
it came out, but like it is like a staple. I love me. Where are you, Christmas?
I've only seen it once, and I wasn't crazy about it.
You must watch it again.
I won't.
You will.
I won't.
I will force you.
I watched the cartoon version, and I watched the real version.
I want you to watch Jim Carrey in full green suit.
I totally did. And
he is hilarious to me, and I love that movie. I love it. Literally makes me feel happy inside. You know which one I don't care for, but like they keep replaying? The Polar Bear Express.
The Polar Bear Express or the Polar Express?
I guess that's what it's called.
The Polar Express with the hot chocolate.
First of all, those cartoons, they scare me.
Oh my god.
First of all, Tom Hanks in whatever like CG animatronic that was, I don't care for it.
Wow.
I was like, stop. These are nightmares that I'm having.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie, the movie's a little bit long.
Very long.
But I love the meaning behind it. I love some of the music scenes. Basically, I love that the Polar Express showed kids from different backgrounds and communities, you know, who had the need for Christmas, the joy of Christmas, and I loved it. I'm not gonna sit here and say that you can watch it multiple times.
Yeah. But
the hot chocolate scene, I'll never get tired of.
Okay.
And I'm glad that it's like, I loved it. But yeah, I feel like movies like that really show the meaning of Christmas. That, Eloise at Christmas time, of course. Really, for real, if y'all have never seen Eloise, like, you want...
Is Julie Andrews in that one? Julie, no.
No. But there's this other old lady who plays Nanny, and she's so nice.
I got you.
And Eloise made me want to live in New York. She made me want to live in a hotel. Like, she was such a mischievous, sweet little girl. Very curious. Loved it. Oh, and Home Alone.
Home Alone, okay. I can see Home Alone. I don't like a lot of the modern movies. It has nothing to do with today's podcast topic, but we must discuss a holiday season. I watched Noelle with Anna Kendricks. So I'm not somebody who's like into the whole like politically correct, like let's reaffirm everybody. But it was a very cute movie. Spoiler alert, she becomes Santa Claus. I know. Santa Claus is a woman for this movie, yes. But it was actually a really cute one, and I liked it. And Bill Hader is really funny, and it just...
Oh, they're dating in real life, right?
Are they?
They are. They've been together for like maybe a year or 2 years now.
I guess. Like if that's
they are. They totally are. I will say I like the Santa Clauses, the movies.
Okay, yes. I like the first one, and Tim Allen was great in the first one. Then they came out with the second one, and now they got a whole TV series, and I'm like,
I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch you. I most certainly am.
There's not anything else you can watch.
There's also Santa Baby. She was the first, in my opinion, the first woman Santa Claus, because Santa Claus was her dad. Remember?
Yes.
And then you know her dad got sick, and she became Santa Claus. That was also, I mean, so. No offense, Anna, but you're not the first to ever do it.
You're not the first.
God bless you. They'll say that one of the things that we talked about, even about Anna Kendrick and Hader, is dating and love during the Christmas season.
If you peep it, she's trying to segue. That's the word of the day.
It is.
Segue to the next topic. It's her way of saying, shut the hell up. We're done talking about Christmas.
No, I love Christmas. I know.
I know. We got to speak about something else. And what we will be speaking on is our obsession.
Is it our obsession?
My obsession of reality TV. I love all reality TV.
I don't like all reality TV.
And so, as I'm assuming many of you guys are watching, or have watched, like we watched, Love is Blind. Amor a Ciegas, if you're Portuguese and in Brazil. Oh, no, it's casamiento a ciegas. But the point being is, we must discuss the shenanigans. Shenanigans!
And only because they keep recurring, it seems like every week a new lid is peeled back. From the cutie story to SK apparently being the Nigerian demon we didn't know.
The Yoruba demon.
Is that what they're calling him now?
Yeah.
You see, I'm like, first of all, let's talk about the positive aspects of the show.
Positive. Cute girls. Great makeup. 10 out of 10. Nick Lachey and Vanessa Lachey are still employed. What else was good about this season?
I think that the show has a really great premise. I love the idea of being able to fall in love with someone without.
I don't.
Well, I like the idea, not the execution.
Okay.
Because I think that the idea of falling in love with someone for who they are is absolutely beautiful, absolutely wonderful, and we all want to believe that that's all that is needed to fall in love, right? But the reality is, and I think that show has proven, is that love, in fact, is not blind. She may be a little, nearsighted or farsighted, but she is not blind.
Are we quoting Shake now? When he was like...
Oh my God, no. I didn't even watch that reunion. I didn't even watch
that reunion. He was like, maybe love is blurry. That's what he said. And shout out to Shake for being a comedian ahead of his time, because we really ran this man down.
I didn't. I love Shake.
I did not, but I also did not harass him on TV. But I agree. The idea sounds great, but to me, your physical is a part of everything. And
absolutely.
I've never looked at someone and go, wow, that man has a great soul. He seems great. Like, that's not what it is. It just so happens you hope to pair that up. But I understand the idea of like, hey, I'm going to take away these external, factors. And I'm going to allow you to get to know me in a way that you probably wouldn't have gotten to know me if all you did was look at me and go, that's not my type. Or, this person's X, so I can't even pursue this. So I like the idea too sometimes.
I do, but you know what? The part that you're talking about, which is like the external factors, the reality is though, can you fall in love? Can you really be in love without the external factors?
You can, because you live in the real world.
Right, because you live in the real world and those things really do matter. And one thing that I actually will applaud the show for, and I guess it's more so to the character, is SK. Like, I'm going to give him his props. I don't know what's going on with all these mistresses. I'm sure Lola's about to inform us.
Yes.
But I will give him props for bringing his culture front and center and talking about how much that meant to him and how he expects a woman he marries to, like, adopt that culture. Not necessarily, like, make it their own, but at least be understanding of it and, be respectful of it. And it made me realize, respectfully, if I'm being honest, I'm not interested in that many cultures to marry into. I'm not. No. I'm really not. It's funny because, like, we have a friend, Margaret. She's Nigerian, except she's Igbo, right? Not Yoruba. And it's funny because, like, I'm very interested in, like, learning about their food. And like, oh my gosh, like, Niger to the world, the musicians are taking over the planet. But I'm also like, I'm okay not to marry maybe a Yoruba man. And, like, I'm also okay not to marry, like, tens of other cultures. But it made me realize, like, as much as we love the idea of being compatible for every single person, if you're someone who has your own culture, like, there were multiple times where I was like, oh, like, our cultures would conflict there. Like, that wouldn't work for us.
Is there, like, a specific time where you're like, the Haitian me could not let this happen? Because there were a couple of times where I was just like, see...
As a Dominican woman.
Okay, so I'm going to say this right now. I think I might be butchering it.
Oh, the headpiece?
The headpiece is beautiful.
Oh my...
Gorgeous.
I like when they wrap it around and make it look like a flower.
Beautiful.
That is so
Not
pretty.
For me, though. I was like, part of me was like, if it was me, was that going to happen? No. No. And
at least you're honest, yeah.
But, like, that's just because, like, for me, and, like, as a Dominican, hair is very important to us. Like, your hair being, like, I know all of you guys have some PTSD story about how you went to a Dominican hair salon. Please keep it to yourself. I know you know. The world knows. It's okay. We've all been scorned by one or two hairdressers. It's okay. Yeah. But, like, hair is, like, a really important part of, like, our, like...
aesthetic.
Our aesthetic, exactly. So I'm like, for me,
and you guys actually really care about the aesthetic. I will say that
we do, and so
and it's not like in a self-centered way. Like they like to present well.
Yes, we do, and so like for me, I was like, it wasn't like I was like, I just couldn't do that because to me, I look forward to doing certain things with my hair, and so I get what you're saying. Like sometimes, like compatibility wise, I could see it not going where. Also, like I feel like certain cultures don't want to share space. Like I could not see SK if I think Raven's biracial, black and white, but like black American. But like if Raven was Haitian and she's like, okay, well we're gonna do this, and that in the wedding, he might be like, no.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he wanted a Yoruba wedding. He would not want any other type. Like I would need to be with somebody who understands it would be
It goes both ways.
It would be a blank / Dominican wedding. Whatever that blank is, but it's going to be like I'm going to be present.
That wedding cake is going to have guava inside, whether or not you want it.
Not
you want guava?
No, dulce de leche, tres leches. You know, I might put guava in half. That's a wonderful thing about Dominican cake.
See?
You can mix the flavors.
I'm not going to lie. That Dominican cake be...
So, like, there are certain things about that, and I don't know if it's SK particularly, or like Nigerian cultures like that, where like we're front and center. But there are some cultures that are like, no, absolutely not. You are marrying into us.
Oh, I see what you mean.
The same thing with like, Brennan and
Alexa. She's Jewish, and he was
Israeli,
like, I'll convert to Judaism, which is huge.
A very big.
And again, it's huge. And again, like I feel like certain cultures, like I think it's different. I think if you're willing to do the work and willing to sacrifice, you can make just about anything work.
Yeah.
But like for example, like I know that Judaism, when I think of like some of their cultures and their customs, I'm like, again, like it's not what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so we would really have to be delicate in how we blended these things.
But some things you just can't be, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like Alexa and both SK are very much like, I'm this, and I need you to do this. And there is no blending of anything. This is what it is.
I think it takes time to blend as well, and I'll say that too.
Yeah.
I will say because of the timeline that they had,
they didn't have time.
I don't know that they had time to work out those kinks.
But
right?
I also don't think the way they presented it, they never gave. It didn't seem like it was an option. And so for me, I would need to hear like, yeah, okay, it's an option. Like we'll do this for the wedding. I remember. Let's make some reality TV shows. These people are getting a divorce, actually, which makes me really sad. Chantal and Pedro from 90 Day Fiancé. They got married, and they got married in America, and then they had a wedding in DR. I could see doing something like that. Okay, like I get it. Maybe we can't make a mixed wedding for this. Maybe we gotta do one for your peoples and do one for mine. But I would need to see that there is a desire to take in what I am as well.
Like reciprocation.
Yeah, because I rep my set. Listen, I got a flag everywhere.
Yo.
I really do.
Lola has a flag everywhere.
I feel like sometimes I might annoy people because I say few things repeatedly. If you're like, oh, what do you know about Paola? She's from the Bronx, she's Dominican. That's literally how I describe myself. I'm from New York and I'm Dominican. And I think that's another thing. The principle is, or to have dedication to learning other people's culture is a big ass. It's
a huge one.
Big thing.
And I think it helps. Well, I think if you love that person, you're going to make the effort anyway.
I also feel like you have to be interested in other people's cultures.
Right, that's the part. I feel like you have to be generally interested.
And actually interested, not like fake interested people.
Right. No, but my thing is, I applaud SK for bringing it to the forefront.
Yeah, of course.
Because the reality is, I think that under the guise of love, people often think that they can do everything and conquer anything. And one question that I think Matt ended up asking Colleen was like, "Is our love enough?" And she was like, "Is love enough for our marriage to survive?" Like when they were in the Aquarian tunnel thing. And she was like, I'm wondering if love is enough. You know what I'm saying?
Love is not enough, though.
And I was like, right. I was like, there has to be reciprocation. There has to be mutual respect. There has to be... There's so much that comes or falls under the umbrella of love that I'm like, to love someone at face value is very easy. To love them for who they are and what's created them and what's formed them. Yeah. Two totally different things. And I think marriage calls you to do the latter. Can we talk about Zaynab and Cole?
It is so funny how... Watching Love is Blind in the beginning, I was like, oh, she's a sweetheart. Her parents are dead. She's an orphan.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, I'm rooting for Zaynab. And then I'm like, yo, you're the villain. Not the villain, but
you're,
wow.
I'm like, but you need help.
You're sick.
And
Sick.
can I just say, having seen all that we've seen, if you've seen the cutie scene, if you finished out the season,
First of all,
I'm like, it made me realize, oh, so when he asked if you're bipolar,
this is what he's talking about.
he was really actually probably concerned.
I will never look at tangerines or mandarins, whatever they were, clementines, the same ever again.
Let me just say, like, I'm actually so glad that Netflix put in that scene, because like people were like, they shouldn't have put in that scene. Da, 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 da. I'm like, Netflix could put in any scene they want to. These people agreed that Netflix should show whatever they recorded. Second, I'm like, it goes to show that, and I'm not calling her a liar, but it goes to show that her perception is not reality. And I think that Netflix wanted to clear the air because the things that she was saying, accusing him of, were quite grave. Like, for someone to give you a eating disorder, for someone to say that you have single-handedly shattered their confidence, these were very big allegations.
See, I was on the Zainab train for a little bit. And then she got up on that day of her wedding day, on that altar. She did that fake little prayer. She's like, Jesus, I want to thank you for Cole because he's so wonderful. And then goes, Cole, you have single-handedly destroyed my confidence. You are... I was like, what?
You know what it was?
Like,
and let me tell you something. People are like, how is that gaslighting? Da, 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 da.
It is gaslighting.
Like, you led him to a place verbally that made him feel like he was safe with you.
You manipulated it.
Right, in that moment, right. So you go, we connected over prayer, which is supposed to be a safe place, by the way. We connected over prayer. You opened with prayer, and then you went into a full-blown character assassination. And I was like, you've not only gaslit him, you gaslit the whole audience. Like, your friends and family included. Because here they are, heads bowed in prayer over y'all. You know what I'm saying? And, like, so I'm like, that, too, was a moment that revealed her character. Because if you think that you just assassinated Cole in that moment, you've also assassinated yourself. And you've like, I'm like, any good thought that I would have had of you, I would have been like, we're done. I'm like, that's how you... I would have rather her come in on a high horse and kept it that way than for her to have been like, we connected. Absolutely. She absolutely wanted to humiliate him. But also, too, I'm telling you, the cutie scene and that moment revealed to me that she is, like, I believe that she believes what she's saying, but I'm going to say that she has deeply rooted insecurities, and she could only see through the lens of her insecurity.
And I remember watching her the first time around, she would say things, and I think I've mentioned, as it was happening, we have a little group chat. It's a wonderful little group chat on WhatsApp. And she would say things, I'm like, I keep hearing her say these weird things. There was at one point in time when Zainab was talking to Matt, who gives, I beat women vibes, but I don't know him personally. She was talking to Matt about the whole situation between Colleen and Cole, and she goes, I'm sorry I'm not as pretty as Colleen. I'm sorry I'll never be as skinny as Colleen. And I was like, who's telling you these things?
And I'm like, and thus far, given the show that we've seen, there's no indication that Cole has ever said those things to her.
But like, those are things that she feels about
for herself. I'm like, prior to her even asking Cole to rate her at the pool, this girl was covered up. She was not trying to be seen. You could tell. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? I think that she led herself to disaster.
Yeah.
And I think that she triggered herself. Like, okay, for example, I'm not gonna sit here and lie that Cole could have, been better about it, but he was also 25. Your brain is just now becoming fully formed.
And she's 30. She was 31 at the time.
So she's 33 now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so even her response to like the internet, to how she handled things once this stuff has aired, I'm like, it just shows such a lack of accountability for any of her own emotions.
Oh, yeah.
So much so that I truly believe that it doesn't matter who she would have been paired with, it would have ended in disaster in the same magnitude. She would have still went up there and assassinated that person's character. She would have still made them responsible for her own emotional insecurity, and they would have been the villain in her story, because I actively believe that due to Zainab's unfortunate history, that she does not know how to play any part but the victim.
I see that, but I will also say you're right about anybody else would not have worked for Zainab. I don't like using certain words to describe women because they are sexist and rooted in the patriarchy. But man, was she nagging this man
to death. I
was rolling my eyes. This man was making the blandest, ugliest, unseasoned piece of chicken
I've ever seen.
And I rooted for him.
But you know what? It was an effort he was making.
Exactly. And I'm like, if I was making any type of meal and I have you hovering over my shoulder and you're like, you know, you're actually supposed to like cut it at a 95 degree. I'd be like, get the fuck out of my face. Literally, and I'm not even a violent person. I don't even like the idea of aggression, but she made me want to fight. And I was just like, at one point in time, I'm like, if this man just, you know, accidentally swings the knife, I understand.
I'm like, I think in that moment.
Not that I want violence towards Zena.
No, absolutely. I completely understand. But I think that she didn't realize that in multiple times that she kind of like made him feel inferior.
Oh, and she was also like very demeaning. She's like, you see this clothes on the floor? Like, do you think you could like possibly like put them in the laundry basket? Like, do you think that could be a thing?
Very passive aggressive.
And I'm just like, if you just said, hey, you're really being messy, can you just like pick this up? It's like bothering me. Not like, do you think like you could put it in the laundry basket? No, I don't think I could put it in the laundry basket. I actually like it on the floor. I feel like I would purposely be messy just to piss her off. I would like, I would literally be cold and unroll my boxers, leave them rolled up, leave them for her. So, yeah, no, I can't actually. I know that sounds really bad, but like it was to the point where I was like, I want Cole to be nasty and dirty so you can suffer, because like she was insufferable. It seemed like everything was a problem.
Everything was. But I genuinely think, this is my genuine opinion, and y'all let me know now in the comments, I actually think she does not know how to be happy. I think because of her past, she's been sad for so long, it's easier to be sad, because then this way, like, you can't be disappointed.
I mean, okay, maybe set the bar low, but like, nah, she was just in a negative
She was insufferable. Like, I was Team Zaynab in the beginning. Wasn't I?
Me
like,
too.
I was so big on her. I was like, you know what?
She's
She's such a great woman. And then I started realizing, oh, she's a Debbie Downer. Like, she just won't be satisfied with anything.
And the whole point about you saying she would want to only be the victim, at one point in time, Cole goes, I just want someone who's gonna be nice to me. Have you forgotten all the nice things that I've done? Obviously not enough. Because I'm telling you, I want you to be nicer to me. And it's just like, what are you talking about? He's saying, I just want someone who will smile at me. And like, you're so serious. And I was just like, Zainab, you beautiful but crazy lady. And these are all things I would hate a man to describe a woman as, because it is sexist in its undertones. Yep. But like, ma'am, yes, it was unseasoned, ugly chicken. But there would be a nice way to go about it.
Right? Like, oh my gosh, babe, like, thank you so much for doing this. Let me help you. You do the vegetables, I do the chicken.
Exactly.
I could take an unseasoned piece of broccoli.
Because the worst part of that interaction was that she took over
the whole thing. And then she also goes, you were supposed to be cooking for me, by the way.
And I'm like,
because you didn't just come in here and insult me and call me a face monkey. I don't know how to do crap.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? And then, granted, this was not the right thing to do, but to his means of deflection is to go grab a flipping Nerf ball just to make you smile, because he's trying so hard to get a smile out of you.
He's trying to keep it lighthearted. Any other man would have left.
I would have walked out. Any other woman, any other human, I'd have been like, you got it. Like, I'm going to go to the Mickey D's. You got it.
I would have left in a hurry. Speedy Gonzalez out of there.
They would have had to been like,
I would have been rolling my eyes at her every 10 seconds. This man, he tried to keep everything I used to get mad at Cole. I'm like, oh, he's such a goofball. But because he was so lighthearted,
he was able to be more resilient.
Oh my god! Because anybody else would have been like, "Yo, shut the fuck up!" Like, I'm not even trying to be like. It pained me to feel that way about another woman. Like, shut the hell up.
I literally said, "Congratulations to Zainab, who has done something I've not seen people be able to do in so long. You have single-handedly made the colored population pity a white man." I'm like, bravo. Bravo.
We're out here.
You brought that man to tears. And then I'm again so glad the cutie scene was brought into it, because it shows that she really took things way out of context. And it makes me feel like every other story she felt like was not shown was likely taken way out of context as well.
First of all, I'm going to tell you, there's a one point in time where everyone keeps saying, this is just her reality. I also think she lies, like blatantly lies.
Absolutely. That story about the bachelorette party.
He's like, Cole, you told me you kissed another woman. I'm like,
the actual shock on his face, unless he's an actor and prepared for that, the shock on his face.
I said, first of all, this man told you he cheated on you.
Right, the day before.
Or
the day of your wedding.
And y'all somehow patched it up and you showed up to marry. Girl, get the hell up out of my... First of all, I'm going to tell you this right now. reality TV producers are not your friends. And so if you are out here doing some F shit, doing some F
they're going to record it.
They're going to they're going to zoom in, get all the cameras, and all the angles. They will get subtitles. They will get what they need to get. Listen, I watch other shows, reality TV. Even if they don't catch you on camera and you have a mic, they will capture the audio and use it. There was this one girl, Wendy, on Potomac. She was saying some she was talking shit about somebody else, and she has her mic on. And she's like, oh, shoot, I forgot my mic. I don't think they'll air it because I'm not on camera. They sure did, Wendy. So I have a hard time believing that these men who went to a rodeo were like, actually, let's go somewhere else. Let's get a little saucy. And Netflix didn't capture that.
That's what I'm
caught
saying.
Matt having a whole meltdown.
Afterwards. They also caught the ladies going out to a strip club.
Yes.
I'm like, they would have, I 100% believe that they would have included the footage that would have made him look bad in that moment.
Netflix would love a good villain. A good villain
it would make it so easy.
First of all, there's a reason why Alexa and Brendan barely got any camera.
Because they were unproblematic.
Because they probably had no problems. They first of all made it look like in the trailer that he was not going to say yes. And I'm like, this man wants this woman. Even Raven and Askey didn't have a lot of camera time
because they were unproblematic. So I'm telling you, they only were going into couples that had issues, and so they highlighted the Zaynab outburst because you had so many. Yes. I'm like, if they had highlighted some Cole outbursts, that would have been lovely. Yes. Y'all see how they harped on him at the damn pool all season long. Yes. Which, by the by, can I be honest, that meant nothing to me. I would not have been offended. I felt like, I understand that. Let me speak just for myself, I guess. I'm not saying that no woman should feel offended by that, but given the nature of the experiment they went through, for someone to say, yeah, you're my type in the real world, you're beautiful, I'm not gonna cry a river about that. But maybe that's just me, because also too, I genuinely believe, and this is just me, y'all, correct me if I'm wrong, I genuinely believe that he was there for Zaynab. Yes, he was yeah, Colleen is a beautiful girl. Bartiz said way worse, if you ask me. And nobody was talking about him, even though he dog walked Nancy. But we're gonna sit here and pretend okay.
Okay. So here's my thing. I would have been offended. I understand that the nature of this experiment meant that you are able to see everybody. And you're probably you just want to see what that person looked like. Yeah. And I understand that. But let us not lie. They were flirting at the pool. They were being if I was at the bar and you were at the bar, I might walk up and they were doing that whole thing. And once you've said I'm going to marry you, we're not we're boyfriend and girlfriend. We try and get married in a few weeks. It's disrespectful. And if it was the other way around, Colleen would have lost her mind if Matt was pulling up on somebody. Cole would have been huh? And so I understand why people were upset. I just think the way they went about it was nonsensical. But I also think people need to, I think you and I are different when it comes to our love languages. And you feel like someone speaking about how they find you attractive just falls on deaf ears. That's not something, so I can imagine him describing someone else as attractive doesn't mean anything to you. But to me, I'm just what are you talking about when you're saying I'm what does that do for our relationship? What are you, because here's the thing, men are very visual. So what are you trying to tell me? You're holding back and not trying to do nothing about it? Because is that supposed to make me feel good about myself? What do you want me to give you a cookie? Because
so for you, you're asking what is the intention?
Why are we in my head? I'm what are we doing talking about other people's attractiveness?
But you know what it is? I don't think, first of all, Cole never brought up the attractiveness to Zaynab, though. Zaynab was the person who goes, what would you rate me? And then she goes, is there anyone else you would rate as a 10? Which was very bratty and annoying to him to be yeah, Colleen I would rate, right? Yeah. But he didn't go up to her Colleen is bad, Colleen is thin.
You're right.
Meanwhile, Bartiz is yeah, Raven with the clothes on. If it was me, she would be on my lap. He's telling this to his current fiance, which by the by, I'm in my mind, I'm they call each other's fiancés, whatever. But the reality is, I feel it's just a dating thing. Yeah, you're trying to figure out if you're actually going to be wed to this person.
Funny.
That to me was so ridiculously. That was disrespectful.
I'll say beyond disrespectful. I was Nancy, if you don't get up from this bed, I do not believe in domestic violence.
I think it spoke volumes that she sat there and that she took everything Bartiz gave her and still said yes.
First of all, here's the thing, and maybe maybe Nancy's a better woman than I am. We just can't be friends after that one. Just respectfully.
What do you mean? Who can't be friends? Bartiz and Nancy?
No, if I was on the show, And my dude was like, yeah, yo, I saw Raven. She was a smoke show. And I like how back. I would have been like, oh, okay. I don't know if we would fight, but it would be the end of us. Like, when he was like, is it okay that I'm talking to you about this? I would be like, no.
And she goes,
mm-hmm. I would have been like, absolutely not. I was like, no, it's actually not okay. It's far from okay. Now we got beef. And congratulations. You played yourself. So, I feel like there are certain things about Zainab that I am very, very similar to her. Like, I'm very sensitive when it comes to food and what people say to me. Like, I was here maybe a week ago, and I was eating dinner because her mom made some good Haitian fried food. It was delicious. And her brother David was like, oh, you must like really like food or whatever. And I was like, excuse you? Like, she literally,
the kitchen goes silent. Little, excuse you?
I was like, get your dick in. Like, okay. I was like, oh, I took it as like, because, so I understand where, I don't think that he said it in a way to inference that she needed to not eat food. But to me, I've had people tell me things like, oh, you look like you want to eat. And I'm like, it's a direct reference to my weight. And I'm like, I'm not somebody who eats a lot. So I didn't know why David said that. So I was like, instead of being like, yo, what the hell did you say? I was like, okay, David, like.
And like, David was like, no.
I also think that people, I could see how my experiences have tailored how I receive certain things.
Yes.
And so it's my responsibility. So I thought he was giving me a dig, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could have been like, Zainab been like, he told me I should not eat. I now have an eating disorder. Or I could have been like, hey, yo, David, like, what's up? Like, I thought we were cool. Like, I know, like, sir,
I just went to hungry. I didn't have lunch. That's what it was.
Like, if you don't want me to eat, talk to Mrs. Charles and tell her to stop cooking so well. Like, that's not my fault. But I was like, hey, yo. And he was like, no, let's clarify it. So I don't understand how she hasn't gotten there in her 32 or 33 years of life.
On this earth.
She should have been like, hey.
Because what do you mean by that?
Because, like, he didn't even know it was a problem. Right. He should have been like, hey, like, when you said save my appetite, would you...
But also save your appetite?
He said about you eating later. Like, girl, he obviously doesn't want you
to. He literally was like, because it's going to be like... He's so excited for this place. Like, it's going to be massive.
Yeah.
I'm like, but she goes, I only have, like, a banana and, like, a scoop of peanut butter. And then he goes, why? I offered you some of my poke bowl today.
Yes, he did. He said, I offered you some food.
And she was like, you know why.
And she was like,
and I'm like, what the fuck? No, bitch, if I'm asking you why, I don't know why.
I don't know. What is the answer?
But I think what I took away from that entire thing in general was people need to go to therapy. Matt showed me you need to go to therapy. Zainab showed me that you need to go to therapy.
But yeah, but I think they all need help. They all need a therapist. And I will say this, some people need therapy more than others in certain frequencies. Like, I was seeing a therapist over the summer maybe once every 2 to 3 weeks, and that works for me. Some people need to be there every day. They need help.
Take it as your lunch break.
Girl.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like a lot of the times people wait until they have problems or problems arise that they can't fix themselves to go to therapy. And I'm like, yo, I'm an advocate for therapy even at the high points of your life, because you just want to make sure that you're regulating properly. You'd be surprised what manifests when you're in the room with other people. Like, for example, like, I 100% believe that Zainab's her trauma manifested, her insecurities manifested into that relationship, and it will continue to do so until she, like, addresses them.
Yeah.
But then I started asking myself, like, what traumas do I have? Like, what's my toxic trait? And we asked some of y'all as well. I don't know if you saw.
Some of y'all are toxic.
But that's okay. We're all a little bit toxic. What do you think your toxic trait is? Does it stem from, like, a trauma? Does it stem from your upbringing? Let us know.
I feel like I have I won't say that they're toxic traits. I think these are traits that I would like to change in myself. Mm-hmm. Because I think to be toxic is just you not willing to change them. So I'm giving ourselves some grace. I think for me, I like the idea of forgiving people, and I'm quick to say, okay, I forgive you, but not truly do it. And so I don't sit with that. And so when I get mad again, I'm like, you've been doing it since March. And you're like, wait a second, I apologize.
We resolved
March. I said, back in March, we figured it out. I'm like, no, we did not. I'm still sitting with it. So I think for me, I don't address how I really feel because I don't like confrontation and arguments. And so this year I've been having a lot of beefs with people, and I don't mean beefs in a bad way, but I've been having these moments where I'm like, oh, oh, I'm still mad. I had like a whole like revelation one day. I was like sending them mad voice messages in my group chat. I'm like, yo, I'm mad. Like physically, my body. I went to the gym, and so I went. So my therapist does say that, you know, people need different types of therapy. It's not just sitting down. But for me, working out helps me feel better. Mm-hmm. Like, genuinely. And I went to work out, and I had to stop because I felt like I was going to die. Oh. And I was just like, okay, I'm mad. I'm mad. And I said I wasn't mad anymore. Like, my body's betraying what my brain is trying to tell me. So I feel like that's something I have to work on. Like, truly.
Do you know that stems from somewhere?
Yeah, I think when growing up, like, my mom would not let me be mad at my sister and vice versa. So, like, if we were mad at each other or, like, we were fighting, she was like, you guys are gonna hug right now. O le voy a agarrar por los pelos y le voy a estrellar la dos. So she was like, either y'all hug or I'm gonna beat your ass. And I'm like, well...
Of the two,
hey, Josie, I'm sorry. And she'd be like, yeah, I'm sorry too. And we would be forced to hug each other. And so, like, I never felt like I ever got resolution. And so for me, and I think this is what you'll probably maybe talk about too, is like, when I'm mad and I want to talk about it, I might be ranting. And I'm like, yeah, you did this, and this, and that. And you might be apologizing to me, telling me, oh, I'm going to fix it. I'm like, yeah, but no. I'm mad. I need to air it out. Because for you, you're like, I don't need a lecture.
I don't. I'm so the opposite. Yes. I'm like, if you say it once, I really am good.
To me, like, I'm like, we need to sit down. And there's like apology letter styles, and there's people who like, your actions are what matters to me. So over time, I need you to show me that you're sorry. And for some people, like, I need you to hear my grievances.
Here's my list. I'm like, I wonder... it's a good form to, like, resolve that maybe, and without maybe, like, throwing it at people all at once, is maybe doing, like, audio, what's it called? Like, the audio journals or whatever.
That might be
and, like, maybe yelling at your phone for a minute and be like, da, 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 da. And then when you could put it in, like, a nice, cohesive sentence, be like, hey, didn't like that.
I did try something once where I was like, when I was mad at Margaret, because we were having a conversation about the twins thing, and I felt...
Twins?
We were talking about twins, about Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Okay, I don't think I remember this.
Yes, you were in there, but like...
Mary-Kate and Ashley?
Yo, it's like the smallest things that will trigger you to, like, anger. We were talking about how Mary-Kate and Ashley, I don't know if y'all don't know this, are fraternal twins.
They are fraternal.
So they're not identical. And my thing was, like, I'm so surprised because... fraternal twins, biologically speaking, are like siblings, like regular siblings.
Yeah, they're different people.
They're different people. What I meant was like identical twins are one egg that's split.
Yeah, so they have the same DNA.
And so that's why they look identical. And so what I'm saying, I'm so surprised that they're fraternal.
Because they look very similar, even though they're just siblings.
Exactly. And what Margaret took from it was I was saying that if you're a fraternal twin, y'all are just regular siblings. And I was like, that's not what I'm saying, babes.
I'm like, y'all be fixating on different conversations. Like, it's funny that mattered to you because
it mattered to me because I was like, I'm somebody, I say what I say, and like I say it, and maybe sometimes a little rough. I've been putting my foot in my mouth, and I know that. But like, if I keep trying to explain to like that's not what I'm trying to say, and you're like, yeah, but I'm like, that's not what I said. And I'm big on words. Like I remember one time you were talking to me about your niece, and she demanded a birthday party. I'm like, did she demand or did she ask?
And that's also the thing about cultures as well, which is so funny because I remember that conversation, and I remember being like, no, this was wrong. She cannot demand a birthday party. Mind you, like in retrospect, and it goes to show like it's so different. Yeah. So Lola goes, what did she say verbatim?
Yes.
And I literally go, well, she said for her birthday, she wanted XYZ for her party. She wanted this and the third thing. And we all looked at her and were like,
no.
What?
Yeah.
How dare you?
How dare you ask for her birthday?
Lola goes, she didn't demand a birthday party. She told you what she would prefer, like if she was going to have one or if she wanted something for her birthday. And for me, growing up in a Haitian household, like, you don't tell parents those things. Yeah, if you get a party at all, you better shout for joy. Yes. You know what I'm saying? I kid you not, love my parents to death. They are the best.
They are wonderful.
But they've never thrown me a party. Like, never a day in my life. Like, I remember the first birthday party I had, I threw it for myself. Like, you know what I mean? And so I'm like, so for us, I remember just being like, this girl, America has corrupted her. I was like, this is what happens when you raise children in America. I'm like, take her back to the motherland. She must not understand. And Lola's like, y'all are ganging up on this little girl. And she was just like, that girl did not demand anything of y'all. And then I was like, oh,
Yeah.
She might be right.
And so for me, it's like words, like actual words. I'm like, is that what I said? Or is that what you interpreting? Because right now, you take what you interpreted and you pushing it up on me. And it's not okay over here. But the point being was, I was so mad that I just stopped talking in that group chat. She was responding to me. I said, you know what? Respectfully, no thank you. Like, and then a few days later, I was like, hey, we were talking. I was like, I don't know if you know, but I was mad at you. And so I've made it a point that I am responsible. I'm not responsible how people talk to me or treat me, but I am responsible on how I react to them.
Okay.
So she didn't think it was like a moment of contention. She just thought we were just shooting the shit. Like, she thought it was like, oh, we're just talking. Because, like, we be talking and debating and stuff. So she probably was like, oh, we're just talking. And to me, I'm just like, pleito. Like, I just wanted to be like, okay, no. And so I'm like, it's my responsibility to be like, hey, I didn't like this, and that. Because how is she supposed to read my brain? Like, she can't read my mind. And so I have been making it a point that I'm responsible to telling people how I feel, respectfully, though. Respectfully. I'm working on that part. Because sometimes it's getting out of hand, but I've never done it. So I'm, like, learning how to do it respectfully. So
it's a journey.
It's a journey. Okay. So I think my toxic traits would be that I was not very communicative with my feelings, and they came out very passive-aggressively. And I also prevented people from doing better when it comes to me, because I'm like, if
you're not communicating, how can they do better?
And so I'm setting people up for failure. It's like, aha, I knew you were gonna do it again, and it's like,
but they never knew it was a problem, so of course they're gonna do it again.
And exactly, and also like sometimes I must be annoying people too, and I would want grace.
Yeah, I think that's the thing as well. I think that what people forget is that you have to give grace and get grace. I think when I think of, it's funny that you mentioned that, because now that you say that, I'm like, is that a toxic trait of mine? I don't know, it's not like a romantic thing or a platonic thing, but I will say, like, I'm starting to realize that my experience growing up, just because it was my experience, does not mean it was the best experience. No. Right?
Like, that's what you know.
It's what I know, right? Yeah. It's what I understand or have been forced to understand, right? And again, that goes to cultural differences and stuff as well. But I have to realize that my reality is not someone else's reality. And so I can't fault them for not sharing realities. Yeah. Because sometimes, like, I'll say something and someone will understand, which I feel like is completely logical. And, like, they'll be like, nope, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm like, oh, so you're dumb. Like, I'm like, you must be that, right? And that's a huge problem we have in the U.S. in general, is a lack of nuance, a lack of understanding that someone else might just have a different experience, which might lead to a different conclusion,
and you have to call yourself out. Okay.
So all of that to say, especially as we come around holiday season, remember that we are all suffering from traumas. Remember that you are in a house. I mean, especially when we're, like, literally, y'all, we were just talking about how families be like, they're traumatic places to be. But especially as we go into the holidays, remember to give grace, get your grace. Remember that, you know, your parents probably didn't go to therapy, probably don't believe in it. Yes. And that you probably have Stockholm Syndrome, because you keep going back and you can't escape anyway. Yes.
You show up for a second serving, and then a third.
And then a third. And a fourth. So at this point, really do your own therapy. Be self-aware. Recognize. Yes. And I think it's on us too, as we talk about reality TV, Love is Blind, Cole, Zaynab, the whole thing. I think it's up to us to also be like, this person does have problems. Yeah. And where we can avoid them, we will, right? Mm-hmm. But like I said, you're dealing with people every day who aren't doing that work. Yeah. Your family included. Happy holidays.
But yes, have grace for your family.
Have grace for others, but also have grace for yourself, and just be self-aware. Like, get therapy, y'all. The moral of the story is get therapy. Yes. Before you jump into any relationship. Yes. Unlike your family, you were born into that one. You'll probably need to be therapized for the rest of your days.
Don't do group therapy, though.
Oh, not family group therapy. That never goes well.
Please don't do that. But yes, take care of yourself. Sit down with someone. Analyze what you're doing. So I think these are all great ideas. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I did. I loved it with my little mic.
I think it's the mic.
It is the mic. It's whether it's placebo or not, it does not matter. I had a great old time.
If you love the mic, be sure to let us know down in the comment section.
I'm bringing it back.
She cares.
I care not of what you think.
She cares a lot.
I care a lot. I do.
So be sure to like. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to comment. Share with a friend. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.